Power is not just about strength, wealth, or charisma, it is about strategy. The most influential people in history were not necessarily the strongest or loudest, but the most strategic. They thought ahead, planned carefully, and made moves that others never saw coming. In a world where most people are reactive, those who master strategic thinking gain an enormous advantage. Strategy is not just for generals or politicians. It is a skill that applies to every area of life. Whether you are navigating relationships, business, or personal growth, your ability to think ahead determines your level of success. Strategic thinkers understand that life is a game, and every choice is a move on the board. Those who act without thinking become pawns, but those who plan become players. Strategic thinking begins with self-awareness. Before you can control situations, you must control yourself. Many people make impulsive decisions because they are unaware of their own emotions and motivations. The first step to mastering strategy is learning to pause, reflect, and analyze before acting. This habit alone sets you apart because most people are slaves to impulse. By slowing down and thinking ahead, you become unpredictable and harder to manipulate. Strategic thinkers are calm under pressure not because they are emotionless, but because they do not allow emotions to dictate decisions. Every decision carries consequences, and strategy is about anticipating those consequences. When you make a move, imagine the possible outcomes. Great strategists consider not just the first effect, but the second and third. For example, a skilled negotiator does not focus solely on winning the argument, but on how their response affects future interactions. Strategy requires a long-term mindset. While most people are concerned with immediate gratification, the strategist is willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term power. This delayed gratification creates an edge in every field, from business to personal relationships. Observation is the foundation of strategy. Strategic thinkers spend more time studying others than speaking. They pay attention to body language, tone, and emotional patterns. This allows them to predict behavior. If you understand what drives people, you can anticipate their actions. Observation also helps you identify opportunities. Most people overlook opportunities because they are focused on themselves, but the strategic mind is always scanning for leverage points. A single detail can reveal an entire plan. By training yourself to watch carefully, you see things others miss. One of the greatest strengths of a strategist is patience. Patience is a weapon because it allows you to choose the perfect moment to act. Impulsive people reveal their weakness by reacting too quickly, but the strategist waits for their opponent to expose themselves. In chess, this is the equivalent of letting your opponent make mistakes while you hold your ground. Patience also makes you appear calm and confident, which increases your influence. People are drawn to those who do not seem desperate to act. Control over your emotions is essential for strategic thinking. Emotional decisions often lead to regret, and those who can remain rational in stressful situations always have the advantage. Emotional control is not about suppressing feelings. It is about separating emotion from action. A person who can appear calm while feeling anger, fear, or anxiety is dangerous because they cannot be manipulated through emotional tactics. Emotional stability makes you a strategist, while emotional volatility makes you a pawn. The ability to think in terms of power dynamics is another mark of strategic intelligence. Life is a constant exchange of power, and whether you realize it or not, every interaction involves influence. Strategic people understand who holds power in any given situation, how that power shifts, and how to position themselves advantageously. They do not enter situations blindly. They analyze the social hierarchy, the emotional leverage, and the possible outcomes before making their move. Strategists also understand the importance of positioning. In every interaction, your position determines your level of influence. This could be your physical position in a room, your emotional position in a relationship, or your financial position in business. Positioning is not always about dominance, but about leverage. Sometimes, appearing weaker than you are can be an advantage because it lowers your opponent's guard. This concept is known as strategic humility. Many powerful leaders throughout history used this tactic, pretending to be less capable than they were to lure enemies into underestimating them. Knowledge is power, and strategists are relentless learners. They read, observe, and study everything around them. They understand that knowledge gives them leverage, because most people act without understanding the bigger picture. If you know more about your environment, your competition, and yourself, you are already ahead. Strategic thinkers are also adaptable. They know that no plan survives contact with reality. Flexibility is part of strategy because it allows you to adjust without losing your advantage. Manipulation often has a negative connotation, but strategic thinkers know that influence is not inherently evil. The ability to guide others' behavior without force is a form of intelligence. Influence allows you to achieve your goals without unnecessary conflict. The difference between manipulation and leadership is intent. Manipulation seeks control for selfish reasons, while influence can be used to create mutually beneficial outcomes. However, regardless of intent, influence is a skill that every strategist must master. Silence is a key strategic tool. Speaking too much reveals too much, while silence forces others to reveal themselves. People are uncomfortable with silence and often fill it by sharing information. Strategic thinkers use silence as a way to observe and control interactions. This also makes their words more powerful because they are not wasted. When you speak less, people listen more. Energy management is another layer of strategy. Many people waste energy on unnecessary conflict, gossip, or emotional drama. A strategist conserves energy for moments that matter. They know that every action carries a cost, and they do not spend energy carelessly. By conserving energy, you are able to act with full force when the right opportunity arises. This makes your moves more impactful because they are rare and deliberate. Scarcity increases value, and this applies not only to your energy but also to your presence. The more accessible you are, the less people value your time. By being selective about where you go, who you interact with, and what you respond to, you create an aura of importance. Scarcity also applies to emotional responses. When you give praise, attention, or approval sparingly, it becomes more meaningful. People value what is rare, and your energy should be no exception. One of the most powerful aspects of strategy is framing. Whoever controls the frame of a conversation controls its outcome. The frame is the underlying context or assumption that shapes how people interpret events. For example, if someone insults you and you respond calmly, you shift the frame, they look emotional, and you appear in control. Strategic thinkers understand that reality is shaped by perception, and whoever controls perception holds power. Strategists are not afraid of failure because they understand that every failure is a lesson. Instead of seeing setbacks as defeats, they see them as data points. This mindset allows them to adjust and come back stronger. Fear of failure keeps most people from taking risks, but a true strategist knows that calculated risks are essential for growth. The ability to analyze failure without emotional attachment is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Predictability is weakness. When people can easily anticipate your behavior, they can manipulate you. Strategic thinkers maintain an element of unpredictability. They do not act out of habit or emotion, they act intentionally. This unpredictability keeps others cautious because they cannot predict your next move. It also creates respect, as people instinctively fear what they cannot control. Powerful individuals are often misunderstood because they do not conform to societal expectations. They are not interested in fitting in, they are interested in winning. This does not mean they are cruel or heartless, but that they see life differently. Where others see problems, they see opportunities. Where others see obstacles, they see leverage. This mindset allows them to turn challenges into stepping stones. The strategist also understands the value of alliances. No one becomes powerful alone. Building relationships with the right people is essential. However, a true strategist does not seek friendships based solely on emotion, but on mutual benefit. They understand that influence is often built through networks of trust and respect. At the same time, they are careful not to become overly dependent on others, because dependence is weakness. Long-term vision separates great strategists from average thinkers. Most people focus only on what is directly in front of them, but a strategist sees the bigger picture. They play the long game, making moves today that will pay off years from now. This vision allows them to stay calm when others panic. They understand that temporary setbacks are part of a larger plan. Ultimately, strategic thinking is about control. Control over your emotions, your actions, your image, and your environment. Those who can master themselves can master any situation. Power is not always visible. Often it is silent, subtle, and calculated. The most powerful people are not necessarily those who appear dominant, but those who are in control behind the scenes. Strategy is about seeing patterns where others see chaos, making decisions with precision, and staying 3 steps ahead of everyone else.